What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy J Tuck. Real Cowboys fans, stand up. Salute to everyone in the building. I see my guy El Fuego in the building. T-Mac is in the building. I see Sadiq in the building. Everybody watching me on Twitter, Facebook. We got a real fun show tonight. Cowboys Nation. Do y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? We have a real fun show tonight because we play in 3 days. We play Dallas Cowboy football in 3 days, and I cannot be more excited to see my Dallas Cowboys face off versus the Tampa Bay Bucs. So I had to call in a favor, and this woman right here, to tell y'all, man, I cannot be more proud. You know, when I started this whole podcasting thing, YouTube thing, content creation, whatever you want to call it, way back in 2020, she was one of the first people I came across. And I said, you know what? She is going places, and just as quickly, she's already taking off. So as of right now, she is covering the Tampa Bay Bucs. So we had to bring her in. Now here's the most important thing, y'all. She covers the Bucs. She lives in Tampa. She's doing her thing. We're all excited for her, but she is Cowboys Nation. So we had to bring her on. So CFO fam, let's give a warm welcome to our girl, Ruth the Truth. What's going on, Ruth?
Hey, J Tuck, thanks for having me back on. And you said it perfectly. I live in Tampa, I cover the Bucs, but I am a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. I've been since coming out the womb, and I'll never stop. Even though it's a lot of red and everything is really enticing being close to the Raymond James Stadium, but my heart will always bleed blue.
Yeah, and if you can look behind her, you can see the Raymond James Stadium. So you can see everything going on in Tampa, right? So I remember last year in week one, we were out there, Ruth, and it was raining. It was kind of a sloppy game. And the Cowboys almost got it with the victory, but they fell a little bit short thanks to Greg DeLeg, right? But we get our revenge game. So we're definitely going to dive in and have a conversation about some of the things you've been seeing out in camp. But before we start, Ruth, everyone who's wanting to find you, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, if I stay pretty active on Instagram and Twitter, just find me at Ruth the Truth on both of those accounts and stay plugged in because I'm doing a radio show every Saturday from 2 to 3 Eastern Standard Time on WTMP Radio. And if you follow me on social media, you'll be able to catch the live stream. Yeah,
definitely give my girl a follow. She's doing incredible things. So, Ruth, let's go ahead and get into it. So we know how the Tampa Bay Bucs season ended last year, right, in the playoffs versus the Rams. And it was a game that, they almost won. You had the conversation. A lot of people thought Tom Brady was done for, so we can kind of excel a little bit. But then he changed his mind and he's back. So just kind of going through what you were hearing from camp, like what are the biggest takeaways that you were hearing from the Bucs camp?
So the Bucs are really excited that Brady has decided to come back because, of course, going to a Kyle Trask or a Blaine Gabbert was definitely not ideal for the Bucs situation, especially after winning a Super Bowl in 2020. It's almost like they got addicted to winning in that mentality, which is great because when Jameis Winston was here, they were in the trenches for quite some time. So the vibe right now is that everybody's ready. They're ready for the season to start. They're ready for another opportunity to get another ring. And I mean, other than injuries, the training camp has been going really successful for the Buccaneers. Even though Brady did step away for a couple of days, he's came back like nothing, like he hasn't missed a beat as everybody would expect from a veteran QB like Tom Brady, who is known as the GOAT of all QBs in the NFL. But right now, everybody's wondering about the status of wide receiver Chris Godwin. As everyone knows, he went down with an ACL injury during week 9 against the New Orleans Saints, and he's been out ever since, but he's been looking pretty good during training camp. Today, he didn't practice. Earlier in the week, he was practicing, just wearing an orange jersey, and obviously no contact for him. But right now, that's the biggest question mark when it comes to Brady and his receivers. But we should see because it's going to be a game time decision for Chris Godwin.
Yeah, and I think, when you look at the Bucs and you also look at the Cowboys from the standpoint, there's been a lot of injuries with your offensive line, which we'll talk about here in a second, but also the wide receiver core is going to look a little bit different now. We know Antonio Brown decided to do whatever he decided to do last year, right? When he kind of took his jersey off and walked away, and then you lose Gronkowski. You did add on Kyle Rudolph, and you have Cameron Brate, I believe, at the tight end position. Yes. But your wide receiver core is looking a little bit different. You did add Julio Jones. Now, I know a lot of Cowboys fans, we thought there was going to be this glimmer of hope that, we could get Julio Jones, but it looks like he decided to be a Tampa Bay Buc. But I think the wide receiver core is going to look a little bit different initially than what we saw week 1. But when it comes to Godwin, if you had to kind of guesstimate, do you think he's going to give it a go on Sunday, or more than likely, do you think he's going to be out?
I think he's gonna give it a go if it comes down to his decision. Obviously, the coaching staff and the trainers are more worried about his longevity, and if they don't feel comfortable with him playing this Sunday, they're definitely going to hold him back. As you said, we've added Julio Jones and Russell Gage, who also came from Atlanta, and we have Mike Evans as well. So there are some
Mhm.
key pieces in that wide receiver room that we could do without Chris. I have a feeling he's going to play on Sunday because it's just
Mm.
really hard to tell that kid no.
Yeah, I think he is too, because like for some reason, Ruth, I'm not sure if these guys are taking vibranium or what it is, but we're seeing it kind of happen with Michael Gallup, where there's an expectation he could possibly not return this Sunday, but maybe the following week or even week 3. But Godwin was hurt a few months before prior to that, and there's a huge possibility that he can return coming off of ACL, coming off of MCL knee injury. So they're returning a lot faster when it comes to his injuries. But I think if Godwin is able to play, and if he resembles who he really is out there on Sunday, that definitely shifts things slightly Tampa Bay's way, because we know Tom Brady loves his wide receiver core. But if Godwin is out, where do you think that the wide receiver core standpoint stands? You think that, of course, we know Mike Evans is clear number 1. You have Julio Jones as your number 2. Who's going to be kind of your number 3 guy that you could see possibly being your slot? I know you had Scotty Miller and what was my favorite draft pick out of North Texas? Jalen Darden, right? Jalen Darden's still on the roster?
Yes, Jalen Darden, he's going into his second year.
Mhm.
They've definitely been using him as a special teams guy, a
Mhm.
punt returner, as we saw a lot of what he did last season. But he definitely earned that position of a third slot receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He definitely put in his work. He's earned the trust of the coaching staff, and they've talked about how everybody's kind of up in cahoots about them deciding to cut Tyler Johnson. But I think Jalen Darden was a smarter choice because he could play multiple positions, not just punt return, but could also be a slot receiver. So definitely a Swiss Army knife. He's a young guy. He's pretty healthy and he's pretty agile. So I think he's going to be that slot receiver, number 3 for the Bucs.
Yeah, I love Jalen Darling last year. I was like, come on, Cowboys, come on, But the Cowboys did get a guy that's kind of like Jalen Darden in Cavante Turpin, who's kind of an unheard, undrafted free agent from the USFL. So when you kind of watch Turpin, because like I said, y'all, she's a Cowboys fan. That's Raymond James back there, but she's a Cowboys fan. So she's watching like we're watching. What was your thoughts on Cavante Turpin, and where do you think he's really going to impact the game on Sunday?
What a pickup for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he was phenomenal throughout the preseason. Mike McCarthy couldn't stop talking about how well he could see the field, and that is something they definitely needed added for the Dallas Cowboys. Cavante is going to be a very big, impactful player for whatever position they need him to play. So I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, I think we all are. I think we're all kind of curious, right? Because we know he's going to be a special teams guy. But with that
Yeah.
type of speed, Ruth, you guys give him the ball, give him a few touches, give him about 4 or 5, and see what he can do with it. And so I think for a lot of Cowboys fans, are definitely going to keep our eye on Cavante Turpin. But another weapon that the Cowboys have failed to kind of learn how to utilize throughout his tenure in Dallas is Tony Pollard. And you're kind of hearing Mike McCarthy kind of speak about, using Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Kellen Moore kind of came out and spoke about using Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. I think that you might see Tony Pollard kind of used in a wide receiver / running back position, especially with the Cowboys wide receiver core kind of being a little bit limited,
Yeah.
I'll say. So what is your
Very
expectation?
limited.
Yeah, okay. There, Ruth's gonna
Very
keep it real,
limited,
right?
very
Like I
limited.
said, she's a fan just like our. Okay, we try to put a little sugar on the roof. Like it's
Yeah.
it's a little different, especially than what
But
we
I
had
think
last
I
year.
think that could possibly be I think that could possibly be a positive for the Dallas Cowboys because as we've seen in the last 2 seasons, they haven't really been run heavy
Mhm.
like we know that we can be. So maybe with these limited weapons in the wide receiver room, that'll give a chance for Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard to really excel in that for the running backs for Dallas.
I think you're going to have to. I think you're going to have to lean on Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. Now we're going to talk about the defense here in a minute, but if you go back to Week 1 last year. I remember vividly walking up to kind of go to the bathroom at halftime. It's like Ezekiel Elliott has 6 carries. Like that's it. Like, like 6, so it's going to be extremely important that Kellen Moore is not only going to run the ball, but commit to it, because we know the strength of your defense and that Todd Bowles defense is their run defense, right? But you can't back out. You can't get afraid because one, we're going to talk about here in a second as well, is the offensive line. You're going to have a starting left tackle and Tyler Smith, who's kind of an unproven guy. didn't get any reps all camp. He played left guard. Tyron Smith goes down. They say, you know what? You're going to play left tackle. So I feel like to put them in the best situation, you're going to have to commit to the run game, which we'll see. But you guys have had some injuries across your offensive line, had a few guys retire. So tell us a little bit about your offensive line.
So I felt like I was some bad juju because my very first day at Bucs training camp, it was day 2 of training camp. That is when center Ryan Jensen fell to that knee injury, and it was such a gut punch to the Buccaneers. The you could hear a pin drop in that training facility afterwards after he got carted off in such a dramatic and heartbreaking fashion. But yeah, I mean, everybody knows Brady does not like pressure, and it's a little bit scary to have some newcomers like Luke Gedeke at left tackle taking over for Ryan Stinney, who also got hurt in the preseason. The offensive line just continued to get beat up, and people aren't really talking about it, but Tristan Wirfs has been dealing with some abdominal issues as well, so he's very unsure to be playing.
As well?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a very ugly sight going into week 1, and it's really, really scary having Micah Parsons on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, they do have Devin White as well. Now, I would probably take Micah Parsons a little bit over Devin, but when you look at the Bucs offensive line, you look at the Cowboys offensive line, who has all their injuries and their issues as well, where would you give the advantage to? Would you kind of make it a push as of right now?
I would probably give the offensive line of the Cowboys a little bit more an advantage. Yeah, they have a newcomer with Tyler Smith, but they also have some veterans on that offensive line that, I mean, Zach Martin, he's been the least penalized offensive lineman the league has ever seen. And Vita Vea, the defensive nose tackle for the Buccaneers, was talking about that in the locker room today, where he's just like, I know that Zach Martin is going to be the biggest threat on that offensive line, and he knows what he's doing. So we definitely have our work cut out for us.
So you mean to tell me they're probably going to put Vita Vea over Tyler Biadasz and not Zach Martin, and let Connor McGovern handle that bully? Because yeah, that's definitely going to be a struggle. But like I said last year, you know, I feel like the offensive line fared well versus the Tampa Bay Bucs' front. But you know, you got to be more consistent when it comes to them. Now, speaking of Tom Brady, we know what he means. He's the GOAT, championships, everything. When you look at Tom, because you cover the Bucs, like, where do you think that his mindset is? And I've been saying this, Ruth. Typically, what scares me is when you have GOATs who go through kind of things off the field, whether it's personal or whatever it may be, they tend to take it out on the field. Like, that's kind of their getaway, their escape. But just kind of let everybody know, like, what is the mindset that you're kind of seeing around Brady coming into the season?
So before he took those 11 days off and the media went into total chaos, I did kind of notice that Brady was looking very kind of zoned out in his head. I kept catching him kind of staring off into the distance, and I could definitely tell that there was something other than football that was going on up in there, up in that goat head of his. So going into this season, I'm a little skeptical with all the off-season hoopla around Tom Brady, and now there's all these tabloids that are coming out saying that his marriage is in shambles. He's having trouble at home. He's not living with Giselle anymore. Just a lot of off the field issues that have nothing to do with the Buccaneers. But I mean, it's Brady. So when Brady's going through it, we're all going through it. So I'm hoping that he could just shake everything off and get into I mean, I have no doubt that Brady's going to be ready week 1. I have a feeling that he's just going to leave all the problems in the locker room and leave it out on the field, and he's going to make it competitive. As everyone remembers, he threw for 379 yards with 4 touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys last season in the NFL opener. So I have a pretty good feeling that he's probably going to be up at least the high 200s in this game.
Yeah, I think so. Like, you kind of, like I said, when you see GOATs kind of go through things in their personal life, they take it out on the field because that's their escape. They're going to try to get away.
I honestly think Giselle's not happy that Brady decided to come back for a 23rd season. I think that she kind of had the idea after the Super Bowl, if everybody remembers, the first thing she said when she greeted Brady on the field was, what else do you have to prove? And I think that was maybe a conversation that they could have had, like, hey, if you win another Super Bowl, like it's over, like you're beyond your 2-decade mark. 23 seasons is unheard of. He just turned 45 years old on August 3rd, so that was another day that he decided to take off from training camp, which I wasn't surprised. I said it's his birthday, he deserves a day off, so I wasn't really surprised not to see him at practice on that day. But just a lot of off the field issues going on that we really don't have an idea on. All we can do is speculate because Brady is a really private person. But as he said to the media addressing after the Indianapolis Colts game, preseason game, he said, "I'm 45 years old and I got a lot of ish going on." So I'll give it to him. We'll just see how things shake out for him in week 1.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that we know that Brady has beaten Father Time after time after time. But sometimes you got to know when to take your chips and walk away, because in the game of football, you're one play away. And we've seen it in so many instances where it's just like, okay. And me personally, just as a football fan, because I love the sport of football, I love my Dallas Cowboys, Ruth, but I love the sport of football. I just never wanted to see that with Brady. It's like, I never wanted to be out there and be like, oh my God, so walk away while you're ahead. If you never lost to the Dallas Cowboys and you decided to walk away, I would have been okay with that. But he's coming back. We know that he has the deal in the booth that's going to be next year, right? But so it's all fair in love. And this guy, Micah Parsons, unleashed the lion and send those lions out after him, and whatever happens, happens. But speaking of the quarterback position, we have a pretty good quarterback too in Dak Prescott. And last year it was a shootout. It was fireworks. And I tell everybody, salute to my fam, SoFlo Cowboys in the building. We were out there in Tampa. We know that Dak did not participate in camp or preseason because of his shoulder.
Wait. You went to week 1?
Ruth.
You went to week 1 last season?
Yes, Ruth, I was there.
And we didn't hang out?
I forgot it started raining.
That's weird.
Yeah. Because I remember we were supposed to.
I think the rain happened right before the game.
It kept raining and then it stopped because we were trying to link up at the tailgate, and it was just like, it was chaos. Yeah, we were there. Yeah, me, Jonathan.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But that won't happen on Sunday. We will be there, and it's going to be like 95 degrees outside. So, but yeah, so last year in Tampa, and Dak Prescott coming off the ankle injury, having some shoulder issues throughout camp. But I tell you, Ruth, and I tell everybody this. When I saw Dak come out that tunnel, it was just focus. And I said, he's ready. This team is ready. The team just felt different. Now, hopefully, the Cowboys can channel that what they had last year, because it was easy to get up for that game. It was opening night. It was just like tonight's going to happen with the Bills and the Rams, right? Opening night of football. Dak coming off the injury, Super Bowl champs. You cannot get up for, not be excited for that game. This year's a little bit different, but I feel like Dak wants to run it back, because even last year after the loss, due to Greg DeLeg, he said that we're going to see you again. Now, 49ers ruined that, but I feel like Dak kind of has this in the back of his mind that he wants to win this game and he wants to beat the Bucs. But tell everybody, just looking from your lens, I know you're a Cowboys fan, but what is your viewpoint on Dak Prescott, and what do you think that the expectation should be for him for this season?
Expectation for Dak Prescott this season is they need to make it to an NFC Championship game. That's the only way that they're going to be able to calm down the media for saying that, oh, Dak was overpaid or Jerry Jones made a mistake. And I mean, there's a lot of doubt surrounding Dak Prescott and his ability to carry the team in high pressure games. So I think the only way to kind of silence the noise is to make it to an NFC Championship game and make it competitive. I'm not saying the Cowboys are going to make it to the Super Bowl, as much as I would love to say that as a fan. Being realistic, they kind of fall short when it comes to the big time moments. So for Dak, he needs to have an outstanding season and make it to an NFC Championship game to silence the noise. And I've been a really big fan of Dak for quite some time. His rookie season, after winning, after coming in for Tony Romo and winning 11 games straight with Ezekiel Elliott, I mean, I've always been bought in since that season.
Yeah. Now, what I'll tell you is this, Ruth. Even if he makes it to the NFC Championship game and loses, that's not going to be enough, because everyone's going to say, see, he can't win the big game. He got to get to the Super Bowl. And so I feel like
that would mean at least that would still be two playoff wins under his belt, right? Yeah, to make it to an NFC Championship.
Now, trust me, I would take it, right? Because you always want to see the team advance. And going off of last year's team, I just felt different, And to be honest with you, Ruth, I didn't buy in initially, because there's still a lot of improvements. Now, I knew that they were going to be a talented team if Dak was healthy, right? Because you had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and then also Michael Gallup, for a few of the games to start off. But our defense, it was a huge question mark. We didn't know nothing about anybody besides Trayvon Diggs, DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, and everybody else was up for grabs. But I really like how the team rallied last year. And for me, Ruth, it was the Patriots game. When I saw the Patriots game, I said, okay, we're cooking with something. Like, all right, Tucker, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go ahead and have a drink of the Kool-Aid, right? Because I feel like this Cowboys team can really go to that next level. And then sitting out there versus the 49ers in that playoff game, to be honest with you, Ruth, I'm still not over it. Like everyone in the chat who watches my channel.
You were there?
I was there. I was there live and direct, dressed in all white, everything fired up. And so just for Sunday night, I just need to get over that 49ers game. I just need a victory. I need a blowout. Like I just need, something to lift my spirit. But that game hurt. That game hurt.
No,
but
it really did.
Hopefully the Dallas Cowboys, the players in that locker room, feel like I feel. I hope they feel like SoFlo. I hope they feel like Spoonie and Nix and everybody that was out there at that game, that they have been foaming at the mouth and waiting to get back on the field to show what they can really do and show improve. And I feel like this team is going to do it. Now, Todd Bowles, this is going to be his first year as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucs. Tell me a little bit about him and his temperament and what did he really bring to this team as a head coach, kind of being the first year leader of the Tampa Bay Bucs.
First and foremost, congratulations to Todd Bowles for following through with a promise that he made to his mother who passed away about him going back and graduating with his bachelor's. So congratulations to him. And that's for everybody out there. It's never too late to finish your education. I am a testament to that as well, as I'm back in school too, trying to get this bachelor's. But as Todd Bowles, he was already with the organization. He won a championship ring, winning a Super Bowl with Super Bowl 56. 55, 56?
Lost.
We're going to 57, so yeah 55s. I know, I lose count of these numbers. I look at the LV and that's what I think about.
Maybe because the Cowboys haven't taken part in any. I've lost. The Cowboys haven't taken part in any, so I've lost count.
I was a little worried about a defensive-minded coach being the head coach, but I really think when it comes to the offense, Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady has that in the bag. I think Todd Bowles, his job is really to just be a time manager, to make sure that he's putting in the right players, that he's on top of his offensive and defensive coordinators. But I'm really happy with Todd Bowles being the head coach. He's a players coach. Everybody loves him. Everybody has a lot of positive things to say about him. He's really nice to the media, which is great. Right. Way nicer than Bruce Arians was, I will say. So I'm excited to see what the Bucs can do with Todd Bowles.
Yeah, and I think that he's just going to be a leader, and we know that he's a defensive-minded coach. So we got to focus on the defense. But before we get over to the defense, everyone in the chat, go ahead and ask Ruth questions. Like I said, she covers the Bucs. She's in Tampa, but she's one of us, So we got an insider. We actually got two insiders because we got Brianna Dix, who used to cover the Cowboys, and now she's covering the Bucs as well.
I met her at training camp as well. She's
great friend of the show. So yeah, so we got two insiders. We can try to, and so that's what I was doing like all camp, right? Everyone was talking about what was going on in the Oxstar and the Cowboys, and I was watching you and Brianna like, all right, what the Bucs doing? And so I remember when the whole thing kind of happened with Tom Brady, the first person I reached out to, and like, Masked Singer, retirement, what's going on? But it looks like he's back.
Yes.
So everyone go ahead, ask questions for Ruth. We'll keep things rolling. But Ruth, I want to transition over into the defense. So we know what your defense brings, or know what the Bucs defense brings. That temperament with their front seven. They like to get a lot of pressure. They're very efficient when it comes to run stopping. But looking at it from the Cowboys' perspective, if you wanted to attack the Tampa Bay Bucs defense, where would be your point of attack, and how would you go about it if you're Kellen Moore?
I really think that the Cowboys would struggle running the ball against the Buccaneers, so they got to let it fly. I think Dak Prescott should let it loose and put some yards up, because that defensive, that first seven on the defensive line is going to be hard to go through. So I think they should definitely focus on passing the ball.
Yeah, and so that's the big conundrum that we are in as Cowboys fans, right? Because we're thinking, all right, no more Amari Cooper. Michael Gallup's going to be out. You have Jalen Tolbert, Noah Brown, and some kind of unproven guys. Run the ball. But you're playing a team that doesn't let that be easy. So it's not
the best run defense. Has the best run defense in the NFL for sure.
Right. So you're definitely going to have to be creative, Kellen Moore, when it comes to the run game. You're going to have to really get Tony Pollard and Zeke involved in different ways. You can't just run up the middle. You can't just run up into the teeth of the defense of Vita Vea, because I tell you, now it might have a Christmas miracle where Tyler Biadasz holds his own versus Vita Vea. I'm not betting my money on that matchup. So You definitely want to hit the outside edges, and I feel like Tony Pollard gives you the opportunity to do so. Get him in space. My guy Robert Roberts has a question. He says, do you think Dak's ankle issues are a ploy to ease the Bucs? Me personally, Robert, I don't think so. I think the Bucs are locked in. You can't sneak attack a Tom Brady team. Like, they're going to be focused. They're going to be ready. It kind of tried it last year when it came to the shoulder with Dak Prescott, and like everyone's like, oh, I don't think Dak's going to throw that much. He's coming off a bum shoulder, and he came out slinging it like 40 times, right? So I don't think it's a ploy. I just think that, it might have been something that he may have tweaked a little bit. If anyone wears Jordan tennis shoes, I know, Ruth, you play basketball as well. They ain't the best sports shoes to wear. My name is Jordan, y'all, and I'll tell you,
not at all.
It's not the best sports shoe to wear. So, I think Dak is perfectly fine when it comes to that ankle. But we spoke about the run game, but tell us a little bit, Ruth, about Tampa's secondary. They have Antoine Winfield and some other players. I think Logan Ryan's going to be out, but tell us a little bit about their secondary with their corners and their safeties.
And if you don't remember, Logan Ryan was the person who tackled Dak Prescott when he got injured. So when the Bucs signed Logan Ryan and I met him at training camp, I had to hold back the fandom a lot because I wanted to ask him about that instance and what happened and whatnot. But Logan Ryan is going to be out.
He listed as called for.
Exactly, just a little bit, just a little bit. Like, you had to go that far,
right?
Yeah, the whole season literally just ruined it, blew it up right in our face, and it was like week 4.
Right.
But I think our secondary for the Buccaneers really struggled throughout the season, last season. I mean, CeeDee Lamb was able to be phenomenal. Mari Cooper had a lot of great deep catches, and it's always been a question mark when it comes to our cornerback position. So I think that's going to be, I would say, like what's the phrase I'm looking for? I think that's going to be like the glass when it comes to the defense for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think Dak Prescott definitely needs to exploit them on that part.
Yeah. So that's it, y'all. It's like, it's going to be on Kellen Moore. And like I said, his temperament and what he likes to do with his philosophy, he's going to want to pass that ball. So here we are, Cowboys Nation. You have a pass rush that can get active. They were 7th in pressures and 7th in sacks last year. They have a strong run defense. Our offensive line is kind of limited, but Kellen Moore is going to say, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to come out there and air it out. So, I was saying, if you had to bet Dak Prescott over and under 35 passes, I might take the over. I can kind of see it, and it really just depends on the speed of the game. Because last year's game, it was a shootout. It was back and forth, turnovers back and forth, right? But I would see Dak. You probably will see him around 31, 33 attempts versus Tampa. What do you think, Ruth?
Yeah, I would take the over 30. Definitely under 35. I would say between 30 and 35. He has a great completion rating when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I have him completing at least 25 to 28 of those passes. But I think I'm going to take the over on that.
Yeah, now, me personally, I would like to see Zeke probably get around 15 carries, 15 to 17 carries. Tony Pollard around 12 touches, 12 to 14 touches, right? And when I say touches, it doesn't have to necessarily be carries, right? Screen plays, draws, playing wide receiver, like just get him involved. That's what I'm thinking. That's how I would attack, because I feel like dropping back, doing 7-step drops, is keeping Dak in the pocket with this offensive line, with the lack of continuity that they showed thus far. It's a recipe for disaster. I can't, I can't spin it. Now, I feel like Tyler Smith, y'all, is going to play okay. I feel like he's going to be okay. But you're not just having to look at Tyler Smith. You got to look at Connor McGovern. Now, I know he played great last year at the right guard position, filling in for Zach Martin, but he's left guard. This is completely different. And then you have Tyler Biadasz. So there's a lot of question marks. And that's not even speaking about the right tackle in Terrence Steele. So when you look at this offensive line, the only guy I can say he's all right is Zach Martin. Everyone else is pretty much a question mark. So dropping back and trying to throw 40 plus times, we
have that issue on the other side of the ball with Tom Brady and his Bucs. I mean, we have Robert Hansey, the second-year pro, that's going to be stepping in for Ryan Jensen. We have Luke Gedecke that's going to be at left tackle. He's a rookie as well. So a lot of pieces are kind of shaky on both offensive lines. So I think the quarterbacks on both sides are going to have some trouble.
So it's whichever quarterback plays better in the most amount of pressure. Because I already know we're going to send Micah
whatever
Parsons.
Quarterback is quickest.
Yeah, quickest. And you would hope that Dak is quicker than a 45-year-old quarterback. But I will say this: Tom Brady does know how to get that ball out of his hand and get the ball out of his hands fairly quick. So from a defensive perspective,
2.5 seconds, I think, is his average.
2.5 seconds. It was quick.
Yeah.
It was quick last year. And if I'm Dan Quinn, you have to give up and get up and play some man press, because if you give them cushion, Tom Brady's going to carve that up. So you got to get up there and be physical with those wide receivers, which I think he is. And the one thing I'm leaning on, Rube, is that Micah Parsons is no longer a Cub. Last year, he was a little Cub. He was new, didn't know what he was doing. He's out there kind of floating around.
You're gonna call him a Cub after he is like second runner for Defensive Player of the Year?
He was a Cub week 1. He was a Cub week 1.
Oh, okay, yes.
But now he's a full-grown lion. He's a full-grown beast. And so, I think that Micah Parsons is going to play a huge impact in this game. But yeah, week 1, because people forget, Micah Parsons didn't really start, last game, in the first game. It was Jalen Smith, and you had LVE in that rotation. Then you had Micah Parsons in there as well. So now we know for sure it's Micah's domain. Even Trayvon Diggs. Remember Trayvon Diggs last year, he was a fingertip away of coming down with that interception that would have probably sealed that victory. I feel like Trayvon Diggs this year, he comes down with that interception. So, I'm excited to see this defense versus efficient offense. I mean, because it's Tom Brady. The Bucs have always been the top in the NFL when it comes to passing and scoring. So it's time to really see, are you really, cut from that cloth? And I think Dan Quinn's going to be creative in his scheme. Now, the one thing we got to talk about, because like I said, me and SoFlo, we were out there. The real Achilles heel that killed us last year was the dang kicker. It was the dang kicker. Yeah, the kicker was horrible last year. And I remember sitting at the Raymond James, and we were kicking an extra point, and the Bucs fans were like, "Why are you sitting down? It's just an extra point." And I was like, "Because this guy can miss this." And so I sat down and closed my eyes, and it was just boom, wide right. And they're like, "Oh, dang, y'all kickers horrible." I was like, "Yes, it really changed the course of the game." So we had some competition for whatever you want to call it, Ruth. It seems like Brett Maher is going to be our kicker. Where does your confidence lie in the Cowboys kicking game playing Tampa again?
Well, as long as Greg the Leg isn't, the go-to kicker, and it's really, it's heart-wrenching to say that, because I loved Greg the Leg in the 2020 season. I really thought he was very, very efficient, but he fell short in a lot of close games for the Cowboys last season. So I think it's time to go with the new guy, try something new, because Greg the Leg just seems to be out of commission most of the time.
Yeah, but Brett Maher hasn't been efficient either when he had his stint in Dallas. But he says he's better, right? And it's like, beggars really can't be choosy. But I'm at the point, just go for 2. Just go for 2. Like, I would probably be less stressed if the Cowboys score a touchdown. Like, no, we're just going to go for 2. I feel like that increases the odds, but we shall see, because we saw last year 9 points was left off the board, and that desperately changed the game. It was just like, you're killing me, because the team fought a battle.
Yeah, that's mind-boggling. That's mind-boggling to think about. 9 points.
9 points.
What the heck?
Yeah, you're going to battle on the road versus the Super Bowl champs, and you leave 9 points on the board because of your kicker. And it wasn't like there were 60-yarders or, like they were just, 45 extra points. But it changed the course of the game. Now, Ruth, I'm going to put you in a very tricky situation, because you cover the Bucs, but you're a Cowboys fan. So before I let you go, we need your prediction on the game.
Coming.
It's it's coming. We can't let you off without making a prediction. The floor is yours.
My prediction for week 1 with the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I have the Dallas Cowboys winning in week 1 against the Buccaneers. I think it's going to be a really similar situation to what we saw last season in week 1, where it's a lot of back and forth and you cannot sit down the whole entire game. And it's going to go down to a last-minute kick from Brandon Mayar, whoever's going to kick the ball for the Dallas Cowboys. I have Dallas winning for sure.
You had me worried.
31-29, just like last season.
Yeah, you had me worried. You had me worried. I was like, oh no. You know, it was kind of like one of those Brett Maher kicks.
I want Dallas to win this game so bad, just because I really feel like it's going to set the tone for them for the first half of the season. They're really going to be riding high for quite some time if they're able to take down Brady and the Buccaneers. And like I said, the Buccaneers are really, really chopped up with that offensive line, and Brady does not like the pressure. And I don't think that they're going to be able to be as successful as they want to be against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas at Jerry's World.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I feel like this is the game once again where the Cowboys can finally get to punch up, you know, because it's like everybody, you know, we know, because we're Cowboys fans, everyone gets fired up to play us, you know, beat Dallas and, you know, the little other teams, the Birds or whatever they're called. You know, everyone gets fired up to play the Cowboys. But Brady, the Bucs, after what happened after week 1, a GOAT who you never beat before, you can get up for this game. You can get a chance to really make a statement and say, hey, we lost some guys, but we got some guys too, and we're ready to keep things moving this season. Our season did not leave with Amari Cooper, you know, and Lyle Collins and some of the guys that they lost. So I feel like the Cowboys should come out with a chip on their shoulder. I know DeMarcus Lawrence came out and spoke and said, oh, we're underdogs. And he said, okay, we'll see. You know, it's like, I like that. I like that fire. Now, Mike McCarthy, you gotta channel it. You know, you gotta channel it because I don't want to hear nothing, Ruth, like the San Francisco game, like, oh, you know, they were kind of nervous and I sent some like I'm not buying that. No. I want to see this team locked and loaded and ready to come in and get this victory versus Tampa Bay. So I have the Cowboys winning 31-28 is what I said last night. Brett Maher, I'm gonna be like this. Ruth, we're gonna be in the same section, so we're probably both will be like this. And this is going to be good, right? I'm not going to see it. I'm just going to go off the crowd reaction that the Cowboys get the victory. But, hey, Ruth, I appreciate you for coming on. Like I said, you're doing incredible things. Keep up all the great work. She is going to be at the game Sunday. We're going to turn it up a level. We're going to have some fun out there. Definitely link up, Lot 10. Definitely hit me. We'll having some fun. We'll be turned up in our section. Now, Cowboys fans, they like to sit around and kind of be, classy and all that stuff. Ruth, when we're in the section, we don't sit down. Like, we're fired up. We're ready to go. We're going to be out there yelling and screaming. Yeah, we're going to have our Cowboy readers. We're going to be ready to go, man. We're going to have a fun time. But Ruth, once again, like I said, thank you for joining in. Keep up the incredible work. For everyone watching right now, once again, let them know where they can follow you.
Yeah, please follow me on Instagram, Ruth the Truth with the number 1 at the end, and Ruth the Truth on Twitter as well. Stay locked in with me. I have a radio show that Jay Tuck will be joining me on this Saturday from 2 to 3 on WTMP Radio. He's going to take about 10-15 minutes to come on and chat it up with me on the radio waves. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on your show again, and go Cowboys.
Absolutely. You know, anytime. You're not a guest, your family. You can always come on. So we might have to do a post game. Depends on if we win. To be honest with you, Ruth,
we should do it live.
I'm a poor sport though. To be honest with you, when we lost that $40 game, people were calling me like, hey, Tuck, where are you? Let's do a show. I was like, bro, I'm in the car. I'm headed home. I don't want to talk about anything. I am done. But if the Cowboys win, oh yeah, I'll do all the live shows. I'll do all the recaps and everything. I never did a 40.
Oh, we're not going to be able to shut you up all week if they win.
Hell yeah. No, they're not. Especially the way that people have been talking about our team. No, you're not going to be able to shut me up. But yeah, we can do a post game. I just have to, decompress, get up my thoughts together. But, my guy SoFlo, when we lost last year, we literally sat there at Raymond James till the security guys was like, all right, you guys got to go. You got to go. You got to go. And it's like, all right. We just sit there and just like the push off versus Jordan Lewis, the missed field goals. I was just sitting there like, can't believe it. But we hope we've redeemed ourselves.
It was right there. It was so close. We could taste it.
It was right there. And I think
way that game ended it felt like a nightmare. It felt like a bad dream. I didn't really believe that it happened. I couldn't believe that Chris Godwin pushed off the way that he did, got away with it, the way the flags were being thrown all game, like very disappointing way to lose. But like I said, I think it it really kind of fired up the Cowboys and they were able to be successful. I mean, they went 12-4 last season.
It
So
was
I
it
think
was a
it
good
had a lot
start.
to
It
do
was a
with,
good start and a huge boost
yeah,
because
I think it had a lot to do with
it
just
gave them
the
the
manner that they
confidence
did.
that, hey, we can compete with the Super Bowl champs. So all right,
Yep.
we're really there. So we just got to get a new kicker. But we can compete with the Super Bowl champs, and I think that really carried throughout the season. But unfortunately, it didn't end the way that we wanted to, man. But I appreciate everyone in the chat. Comment, like, subscribe. Of course, if you're seeing me for the first time, you can follow me on all social media platforms at jtuck151. And then, of course, CFOsportstalk.com. The merch store is back. So if you like the Parsons shirts, all that stuff is fully restocked. So definitely use that code CFOgang to get 10% off.
Oh, I'm going to get me one.
There you go.
I need a Micah Parsons shirt.
There you go. There you go. CFOsportstalk.com, Twitter, all of that stuff. Comment, like, subscribe. I appreciate all the support. I think, Ruth, this is busy season for us. So I think I have another live show here in a second with Boss Cowboy. And I have another show with we're high demand. This is like, the ins and outs. I know the game is about to kick off. I know. I got a TV in here too, so I'm gonna be poking my head up. So, but hey, Ruth, I appreciate you coming on. Yeah. I'm multitasking. But hey, I appreciate you, Ruth.
Good.
Have a safe travels, and I'll see you on Sunday. For everyone in the chat, I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged, and go Cowboys. Peace.